afternoon. You're welcome to the faculty. The faculty is a public affairs program on Delta Broadcasting Service Television every weekday. On today's faculty, we're going to be looking at a very important topic that's going to be dwelling mostly on the educational sector. Delta State is blessed with many tertiary institutions, from polytechnics to monotechnics to universities, and of course, not forgetting nursing schools, schools of midwifery, you name it. That to show you the level of academic ambience that the state is blessed with. Well, education is not just about having the institutions. How well are they funded? How well are they furnished? What's the level of infrastructural development in some of these higher institutions, if not all of these higher institutions? Is the environment worthy of being called that of an higher institution? Do they have research facilities well in place? Are the libraries well stocked? What about the ICT unit? Entrepreneurship, you name it. We can keep going on and on. To throw more lights on this discussion, I've got two very wonderful academians in this studio with me. To my far right is none other person, a doctor in accounting from the Department of Accounting, Dennis Osadebe University, Asaba, Dr. David Akan. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And of course, a doctor equally of the same institution, a doctor of law from the Delta State University, and this none other person, Dr. Sam Ugbo. Sam Ugbo, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me once more.
Now,
today.
Delta State blessed with so many high institutions. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Akan. Yes. What is it? What is your evaluation of the infrastructural development in these institutions? Let's start with your institution.
All right, thank you very much. My institution is Dennis Osadebe University, and actually we took over from Delta State University, Abraka Asaba campus. At that time, we didn't have much infrastructures on ground, but as the university came into existence in 2021, the government hit the ground running, and they began to do their best. Right now, before now, it was like a glorified secondary school. But as we speak, there are a lot of changes here and there. The funds is not just coming from one source. We have the Delta State government doing their best. We also have CBN. We are feeling the touch of CBN. And we also have TET Fund also doing their, for needs assessment is also there. Town and Gown are also doing their best. So right now, the university is changing gradually. We are getting there. We are not there yet, but at least we are getting there.
Samubo, let's get your opinion about infrastructural development in our institutions vis-a-vis your institution per se.
Yes, I have actually, let me not start from my institution. I have been to Dennis Osadebe University several times, and I have seen the changes that are on ground, just like my colleague rightly put it. You know, there are changes when if you were there 5 years ago and we don't have enough lecturers in a situation where a lecturer handles or teaches up to 5 or 6 courses does not actually augur well. In all the institutions, we enjoy government to, employ more hands, and ensure that the lecturers are well paid too, to avoid, brain drain. Yes.
Talking about lecturers well paid, it's interesting to know that yes, you must speak for your constituents. You know that the public servants, we say public servants needs to be more well paid as well. I mean, you name it. But moving forward, talking about infrastructure development, let's look at what the Delta State government. We can't take it away from that. The recommendations are quite bogus. And when you look at what has happened in Dennis Osadebe University, like you said, and Delta University Agbo, and University of Delta rather. Then most importantly, I want to look at Uzoro Polytechnic, former Uzoro Polytechnic, now I think what did they Southern Delta University. Quite an impressive school because of their the input of sports. Now let's look at infrastructure. You set the building, you spring up the building. What about equipping the building? Infrastructure is not just about the For engineering department, for example, you need to get these machines, the lathe machines and the electrical machines, and you name it. Now, you've spoken well about the infrastructure. What about the equipping the structures that have been built? How can you give that? What evaluation do you have on that?
Thank you very much. In Denis Osadebe University, actually, when TETFund builds a building, they equip it. But as it relates to certain infrastructures, I know that also that TETFund, sorry, I'm using TETFund often because I'm the tax officer.
Okay. Yes, but TETFund is really doing well.
So they are really doing well. Yeah. So they have entrepreneurship building, and they furnished it with vocational machineries that people can learn handwork. And so we have actually GST, where people are now allowed to learn, and those equipment, we have some. As I said, we are not there yet, but we have some, and but we still need improvement, especially as it relates to IT center, accounting laboratory. I think engineers too, they have laboratories.
If accounting can have laboratory, why do engineers
laboratories?
I was even surprised accounting laboratory.
Yes, we have accounting laboratories. We have mass comm laboratories. Studios, they have there. So we are not really there yet. We are still appealing to the government to, help assist in those areas. But so far, so good. They are doing wonderfully well.
Doing wonderfully well. That's a good one. But excuse me. We're looking at we talked about right now. We looked at the issue of equipping these laboratories. So are the equipments that we're using to equip these laboratories, are they in line with international standards? Because it's not just about equipping. We've gone digital. A lot of analog procedures have been thrown to the dogs in the past, but now most of these laboratories have gone digital. Even your legal laboratory, law faculties, they have laboratories now and all that. So what is the quality of infrastructure we are seeing in Delta State Higher Institution? What's the quality of infrastructure vis-a-vis both the buildings and the equipment?
Well, I'm aware that we have modern equipment. Now, the other time I was at the Faculty of Engineering, Wale Campus of University of Delta Agbo. When I got there, a friend of mine took me around and I saw some good equipment. The facilities and the equipment there are very, very okay. They are modern facilities, and they are modern equipment, and even the lecturers and the students there acknowledge the fact that what they have there is, is well commendable, and they are so happy about it, because law reports that you go for research are now online. There are some things you can do on your phone, and when you click on them, you see the cases. You make use of them rather than go to those dusty libraries where the books are kept for years and you make reference to them. During our time, that is what we were doing. But today, you see our students no longer.
So, summary, please let me cut you short there. So I want to ask something. Is it that the importance and relevance of the library would have to, I don't know, or we're moving from analog library to digital library? Yes, I think people need to understand, because when you emphasize on the need to say that the library, some people might misconstrue the relevance and importance of library in school.
That is exactly what I was driving at. But for example, in Faculty of Law, we have now moved from analog library where you go for text literature. Now, these literatures too are all online. These are previous cases that were determined by superior courts. They are now online. Now you get them, through online. There are so many sources you can get them. Rather than, you go to libraries where you have books and all that.
References.
All these things are now in your phone. You get them in your phone and move on. And that is what the students now do. They don't. Many of them don't use the library except when it is necessary that they should do that. They have all these things in their phone. During our time, like I was saying, you must go to the library. You look for a case. You read it. You brief it, and you get the decision. But today, It is something, even as you teach them, they
Google
it, they check whether you are right or wrong. They ask you questions. You know, it is now faster and better. So what we are saying is that the state government and other persons who are well-to-do should, you know, help to ensure that we have some of these equipment and some of these facilities in our various faculties. You know, various faculties of these universities in Delta State. It is a well-intended
now let's look at.
Okay, can I add something to that? Because in Denis Osadebe University we have an e-library.
Okay.
We have the physical library. We have the e-library. So when you get there, there are some books that you might want to go through. They are not yet online. You go to the physical library. Then upstairs you go to the e-library where you have access. It's not just the e-library. They are also digitalized in such a way that when you get there, you get free Wi-Fi. Okay. So I think they've done well in that regard. However, as I said, there's always room for improvement.
Yes.
Talking about room for improvement, if you're just joining us, is the faculty, a public affairs program on Delta Broadcasting Service Television every weekday. Today we're looking at the infrastructure development in tertiary institutions in Delta State, with centralizing our discussions on higher institutions, basically universities in Delta State. And I've got two very wonderful academics in the studio with me, Dr. David Akan of the Denis Osadebe University, and of course Dr. Sam Ugbo of the University of Delta Agbo. And now we've been talking about infrastructure, buildings and equipment. Let's look at the manpower, because it's one thing to have the structures, to have the equipment, and do we have the requisite manpower to utilize these infrastructures, this building, to manage the laboratories, to manage the e-library, to improve to handle research work for doctoral students, professorship and associate professor degrees and all that. What about manpower? Let's look at manpower.
All right. Before I talk about manpower, please allow me to just go back a little bit, like 2 steps. You know, out of the 3 new universities that were brought into play in 2021, Denis Osadebe University is the only university that started from the scratch. Yes. And as I said, the government have been doing very well, but I would still appeal, because it's an opportunity for the government to still look into the area of lecture halls, because I think we need more assistance in that area. Now, talking about manpower, there are departments, faculties in Denis Osadebe University that are doing very well in terms of manpower. For example, in accounting, we have about 17 lecturers, and I think 98% of them are PhD holders already.
Wow.
Yes, and they are professionals. Many of us are professionals. But there are still some departments, some faculties that are still struggling, like law, for example. Yes. So I quite agree.
Engineering.
Yes, engineering. You know,
architecture.
Yes, architecture. I think you are even there.
Architecture.
Yes, they need some manpower in those areas. Yes.
Quite a lot. What about it, Joe?
Yeah, the same thing applicable in my institution. Yes, there is no saying the fact that some departments are well equipped, whereas in some other departments, manpower is still lacking. You know, I think one good thing about a university is that there should be enough manpower to take care of, you know, both the academic angle and the ordinary administrative and others. Because the moment you have, you know, some of the departments lacking in any way, it affects the gamut of the operation of the university. Now, first of all, let us talk about academic staff. You know, if you don't have enough academic staff, it will go a long way to affecting the the faculty or the department, because in a situation where you have one lecturer taking 5 or 6 courses, like I said, you will see that professionalism will not be displayed there. It will definitely affect, the lecturers. So it is important that enough manpower should be brought in. Not like he said that they have about 17 lecturers in account. It is not even enough. They should be up to 20, 22 or thereabout.
Or more than.
You see, you have some lecturers like he said, who are professionals. You have assistant lecturers who take tutorials, and this will help the students. When the PhD holder or maybe a senior lecturer or associate professor, is done with his lectures, you have graduate assistants. You have lecturers that will go for tutorials, and that will make the students perform well. These are some of the things. In various faculties, faculty of law, at least you should have at least 22 lecturers. Why you should have enough lecturers is that, we'll have new areas of law. As the society grows or develops, you see laws coming. Now we have laws of the air, laws of the sea, everything you can think of.
Laws of 2026 Electoral Act.
So many, many things have not since since internet. In this era of internet, you have laws there, different categories of laws coming in. Now you cannot, you need to have persons who are versed in this area, persons who have researched in this area, to come and take care of the students. Because the students too need to come up and be involved in this whole thing. If you don't have lecturers who are not versed in that area, it means you are still moribund. Yeah. You are still going back to the normal laws we did 20, 25, 30 years ago. Now, laws are changing. So you need lecturers. You need, enough manpower.
Yes, needing enough manpower is the case of necessity, and not an option. And we're talking about you needing lecturers, we having manpower. But let's look at, because when you talk of infrastructure and of course funding, yes, I must appreciate TED fund. Delta State government, most important. It's the only state in Nigeria that has the number of higher institutions that it has. And there's no lacuna in terms of funding. The state is doing greatly in that area. But let's look at security, because a lot of times people seem to always look at the building. The building has been well equipped, but now we need security. How important is security in infrastructure? Because without security, most of these things will be, we've seen incidents when they are looted or they are stolen. And how prepared are you lecturers, most present dispensation, to secure this infrastructure? It's not just building, seeing that legacies are built, but how do we sustainability, how do we maintain this infrastructure that have been built by government?
Thank you very much. Your question is divided into two.
Yes, please.
The first one is security. Yeah. The second one is sustainability, maintenance. Now, in terms of maintenance, for a person that has graduated and has a PhD, I think you should have some level of maintenance culture. Now, these buildings are new, the furnitures are new. It behoves on you to make sure that when you are leaving, you switch off the electricity and all that. And every morning, cleaners come around to clean the whole place. That in terms of maintenance. We have gardeners, I'm talking about the University, and I'm very sure it's so in the other 3 universities. Then when we talk about security, we have, first of all, we are to secure first. Yeah. Because as a people, we need to understand that there are things that should not be in places where it becomes very risky. We try as much as possible to be security conscious. We have also the security firms. In Dennis Asade University, for example, we have the security people that are guiding the places. They also have some men on mufti that comes around to just go around. They are policemen.
you know. So in terms of security, I don't think it's that bad. However, it is an academic environment, or where all sort of rubbish takes place. So security cannot be too much. So I think we need more security to ensure that the people, the students are safe and the lecturers are safe likewise.
Yes, well,
yeah, just like he rightly said, there are a lot of security outfits in the university environment, like in NAGBO. You know, oftentimes you see police patrol. You know, police patrol along the place. And during exam, you see vans, police vans stationed at the gate. We have some plainclothes men who goes in and ensure that nothing, negative happens. That notwithstanding, that is not to say that there is watertight security in various campuses. A lot of things, like he said, happen. Now, that will not stop the issue of stealing by unknown persons, probably students too. You know, had instances where some things are stolen. What about the hostel? In the hostel, you see so many things happen, but it is reduced drastically to an extent. Yeah, security is actually
yes.
But
Talking
the problem is the security outside the campus.
That's where I was going to. That looking at security, we've just he made reference, because what a reference that he made is leading me to my next question. You have been talking about infrastructure development, buildings, equipping of the buildings, and nobody's spoken about building hostels for our students. And that is most paramount, because I found out that 90% seem to live off campus. There's a lacuna somewhere, because if it is most of these leaders today grew up in an environment where it was more or less an enclosure. Most of them grew up in the first generation universities where accommodation was guaranteed, because when you have them clustered and you can manage security better. But that aside, what is what are you doing now? What is your opinion? What are you doing about, you are the desk head of TED Fund. What is TED Fund and other funding agencies doing about building hostels for our children?
All right, not to be personal, I am forced to mention the name of my Vice Chancellor here, because I know that Professor Ogojafor Ben has been doing a lot. In fact, I'm aware, by virtue of me being the desk officer, that he has been trying to meet with people so that they could have a PPP arrangement to ensure, because government cannot do everything.
Not at all.
Yes, to ensure that we have hostels for the people, because as I speak, the population of the school is enormous.
Enormous.
Yes. So they can't do it alone. But he's working tirelessly. He has gone to TED Fund with regards to hostels. He's trying to meet the town and gown to make sure that there are hostels. And he's also working on the present government, who of course have been giving all necessary support to make sure that there are hostels. So in a couple of months from now, I'm not saying yes, month from now, we will start seeing buildings, erupting for that purpose.
Yes. What about the University of Delta? What is the composition of the accommodation issue there?
Well, in University of Delta, we have 3 campuses. We have the main campus, former College of Education, Agbo. We have Walero and Owibo. Right there at Owibo campus, we have hostel. We have a hostel there. Whenever you come to that place, hostel, that accommodate students. We have one at Walero. We have a mini hostel too. But at the main campus, we don't actually have any hostel. But that notwithstanding, there are private hostels around that accommodate the students. There are enough private hostels. But
when you talk of private hostels, I mean, you and I know that they cannot have it at a subsidized rate like you have in the school, at a moderate rate. As parents, it will be a burdensome, because except you do not want the children of the average, the poor, to go to school.
Yeah.
So talking about accommodation, it's not out of place. Yes, I agree with you that we have accommodation in these higher institutions. Are they enough? No. Do we need to do more? Yes.
Yes.
So,
I'm driving towards that in a way. Yeah, the truth is that majority of students would like to live,
off campus.
not really off campus.
In this campus. Many people want to live
Many of them
in
are
campus.
interested
For
in
security.
living in this school. Apart from security, there are other facilities such as electricity and whatever. When there is no light, oftentimes they put on the generating cell. The school authority does that during exams. During our time, we had all this. Okay, probably generating cell will be put up at 12 and all that.
The time.
Yes.
When you are used to the time, you know how to plan.
Yeah, in the morning, some of these facilities. And again, there is this issue of accommodation hike outside the campus.
Outside the campus,
See, the rate is very, very high. It is not easy for parents to. But that notwithstanding, you still see some students, those ones that will park big cars at the gates. They wouldn't like to near the hostel. That is their own, cup of tea. But we're call on the state government and other well-meaning Nigerians or Deltans to assist in building hostel accommodation in these institutions, because during our time as students, many of us passed through the hostel.
And it helps in transformation.
Yes. And when you are in school, you don't just go to school. You pass through the school, and the school pass through you. When you are in the hostel, you get information. You know what is going on, and when you see your mates, your colleagues read, you'll be tempted to read too. And when you are off campus, you are on your own.
You'll be tempted to socialize.
Yeah,
The environment influences
does
certain decisions. Now, you made reference to, students with big cars, and I was coming there. Let me start with Dennis Osadebe University, because I've seen, prior to this time, they used to park close to the gate, but now they are parking close to the filling station.
Yes.
Now, how have you been able to, our generation, we didn't see this kind of affluence among students. It was dignity in labor. But now we are seeing students of 18 years, 19 years living affluently, and they want to come learn, and they want to come into an environment of solitude and quiet, but they come with the kind of mindset. Now, as academicians, how are you helping the system?
Okay, the first thing is to study the generation that we are in.
Yeah.
We are not in the normal generation or the previous generation. This generation is the generation where people believe that even at 12 you can be a millionaire. All right, and you can't take that away from them, because that's what we are seeing now.
Exactly.
But it is studying that generation and understanding how to mitigate some of these excesses, and that's what we are trying to do. When they were driving into the school, we discovered that we started having accidents because their brain is not mature enough to handle
some
speed limit. Yes. So, and when you are not matured and there's an emergency, instead of applying the brake, you apply the throttle, because so it escalates, and that is why when the management looked at the situation, they said, okay, you park outside first, so that at least we can safeguard those that are inside the premises. Even at that, there was a recent accident where a student, was injured deeply, and the school now had to also decide, okay, you go further. That's why they are parking at the filling station now. So we are working on that, and again, so that when you walk to the gate and pass through the gate, your head will now start telling you that
this place is for
this one now is for transformation. I'm a student from here. By the time I close, I can start doing whatever. Yes,
regulations
are binding
from the gate.
Yes, they are binding. So there is a way you will dress. They send you back from the gate. There is a way you will look. They send you back from the gate. And when we're teaching you, there are certain things we look at. We don't allow you to undermine lecturers. Of course, you know that the kind of cars they are coming with and the kind of cars that lecturers have, but all the same, we know that what we have, they don't.
They don't have.
So we are the one to transform them. And that's what most of us are doing. I'm still appealing, using this opportunity to appeal to all lecturers. the fact that students have money, maybe some kind of money that you might not have, you are to instill discipline in those students. Ensure that they get the knowledge both academically and morally. That's the only way we can get good students that will teach our own children tomorrow.
Yeah, let's get what's happening from your end.
Yes, it is the same thing everywhere.
So you have them in Nagbo, a lot of them too.
We have a lot of them in the 3 campuses. They normally park
Oh,
outside the
actually.
gate. And yes, like he said, when they come to class, they actually behave like students. Yes, you don't have to, all eyes on them. We know them. So they don't, when they come to class and they come to lecturer's office, they must behave. Otherwise, you walk them out.
Yes.
Because if you decide that you're a student or you're not a student, and that is why you parked your car outside, you cannot bring it in, then you must cooperate. You must, stand by the rules. There are rules. I have a lecturer in Owibo campus that if he sees that you're not properly dressed, he takes off your cap, walks you out. And he's the VC rep in that campus, and he does not play with such things. No matter who you are, no matter the car you parked outside, he pounces on you and asks you to leave. Go out. If you don't go out, he will invite the security men.
Straight.
So they know that as he's coming, he knows that he has to be properly dressed.
Yes.
You must be properly dressed.
If you want to sag after school,
yeah, after school, when you leave the environment, do whatever you like.
Yes,
Take-
and
carry
quite
your car.
interesting.
So we need to instill that discipline in them. I know that is what we are trying to do. They call themselves Gen Z
Whatever.
generation. We know how they behave. We know their level of understanding.
Yeah.
We know what they're up to, and we normally curtail them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interestingly, during our time in university, we could count the number of cars
Yeah.
owned by students, maybe 2 or 3, 5 or 4.
Can
people.
see, yes.
And I mean, respect was really given to the lecturer. But let's look at, I'm taking this up on you because I think I've seen it, and it's happening probably in 1 or 2 other schools.
Yeah.
We've been talking about you, and you referenced it, talking about lecture theaters, because there is an implosion, population implosion in Dennis Osadebe University.
Yes.
Beautiful courses. I've never been so impressed.
Yes.
Beautiful courses. And everybody is directing all over the country. They want to come back home. Their children, some still living, they want to come back home to school. Now, there was a scenario I noticed, and not just there, but even in Abraka and other places.
Yes.
The issue of lecture halls.
Yes.
I met a class being taken around the staircase in environmental, around that architecture area.
Yeah.
You know, they have department, they have building, they
Yeah.
have urban and regional
Yes.
planning, architecture.
Yes.
I mean, the classrooms are not just enough.
Yes.
Even in the main lecture theater, it's not enough. Lecturers have to wait for another lecturer to finish before they go in. How is the union, ASU for example, how is your own desk trying to relate with TED Fund that, I mean, we are here because of the students? How do we get, I mean, it's not just accommodation alone, classrooms.
Yes. Okay. Fortunately, too, I represent my faculty for timetable, and it's been very hectic because one is to fix the classes, another is to allocate
The time.
lecture halls,
Lecture
not
halls.
just
Yes,
time,
okay,
but lecture
lecture
halls.
halls. Yeah.
And it's been very hectic. But I can, as I said, as we speak, we have Faculty of Art Phase 2, where we have over 16 classrooms presently being constructed. We have Faculty of Art Hall that is going to take about 250 students. We have Faculty of Management Sciences. They are constructing offices and classrooms. So as we speak, there are so many constructions ongoing
Yes, I can
that are trying to provide more classrooms. As we also speak, we are constructing ICT. This is also TED Fund.
Yeah.
ICT Support Center. It's going to be a very big hall too, which we can also
Use for
double it
lecture.
as
Lecture.
for lecture hall. And TED Fund is also trying to do something. As I said before, kudos to him. Not because I'm here, but Ben Ogujafe has not been so much on ground to is always outside trying to see how he can bring in people, bring in the impact of TED Fund. In fact, TED Fund has done so much for DOU because of him. Because you know they're supposed to share this thing around, but because you know he has been able to draw the attention of TED Fund to the school, that this school is the one that started from the scratch, and so they need more attention. And as we speak, also there's a PPP arrangement ongoing. You know, so very soon, as I said, we'll have a lot of lecture halls.
Yes. What's the lecture hall situation in University of Delta?
Well, right there at my campus, at the Oyibo campus, I know oftentimes we'll have these issues of lecture halls. You know, we have one particular building that is meant for Faculty of Law. There we have 2 big halls. We have 500 and 1,000 capacity halls. So only us cannot utilize it because we have some other classrooms. So oftentimes we allow management students to make use. Lecturers take lecture. We have another line of classrooms, 5, but up to 6 that can take at least 60 in each. But that notwithstanding, I think management, Faculty of Management now have a new building, but unfortunately, I remember that at the time it was commissioned, there were no seats there. I think there is an arrangement going on now to ensure that the seats are fixed so that they can have their own. Now, yes, I remember during the exam period, we had issues like that, you know, where you see students moving in groups, you know, whether because one particular class has been taken over by. So issues like that still comes up. Issues like that are still in uni there. But I hope that such issues will be resolved in no distant time.
All right, one last minute as we think of winding up. Let's just in 60 seconds. What's your? Okay, now let's look at the critical issue of government funding. When you talk about funding, government funding, how's the funding in terms of infrastructure on the part of the present government of Delta State? How has it felt like?
Well, I'm not a praising it,
because you've been talking about TED Fund now.
Yes.
Because it's not just about
no.
Delta Society.
Yes, for Delta State government, the present Delta State government, they've been doing very well. And how do you know? You look at their budget. Before now, the budget was less than 100 billion for education. As we speak, for 2026, is above 100 billion.
Wow.
Yes. So you can see that the governor, His Excellency Sheriff, is doing wonderfully well in that area, because when you vote money, it simply means that you want the best for that sector. So he has done a lot of things, and as I said, it's not just him, not just TED Fund that has been working. As I speak, the Faculty of Management Sciences is not being constructed by TED Fund, it's by the Delta State government. We have the Faculty of Law still under construction too, by the Delta State government.
So Delta State government is doing excellent.
It's doing well, although
but
Oliver
would ask for more.
will ask for more.
And for me, I would equally have wished you referenced the past government of Senator Dr. Ato Ifeanyi. Why? Because I think it started some of these.
My brother, it's because you told me that we are working with time.
Yes.
Let me be frank with you.
Yeah.
To start with, in 2021, he bore that vision.
Yeah.
I've not started with him. We've not really discussed, but I know that he wasn't just building roads. He was an academician to the core himself. He was Dr. Ato.
Yeah.
So he was an academician, and he knew the importance. He brought in 3 more universities, and knowing that this thing is going to cost money, yet he brought them in and ensured that they did not suffer. They didn't suffer all through his tenure, and he made sure he passed the baton over to this one. I think this present government is taking a toll from
the past
Yes,
government.
that is true. He had just said it all that, the immediate past governor laid the foundation and built on it. He actually did so well. Now the incumbent has, taken up from where he stopped, and they are doing very well. We hope that the state universities will tremendously grow. You know, with what we have now, where we are now, we are far better than some universities that have been in existence
for long,
past
over 10 years.
30 years.
Yes.
Quite an
Now,
interesting one.
I want to you, many of these universities, of our universities are digitalized. Many of us we have now gone.
So now you are proud to be lecturers.
We are proud. We are proud.
But next time you come in, I'm going to ask you about research questions. I mean, for want of time, because it's not just being a doctor, a professor. How is your institution equipped to do research? Because we have a lot of professors that cannot provide thesis of how they become doctors and how they became professors. We'll do that some other time. We've been, I must appreciate, it's been the Faculty Public Affairs Program on Delta Broadcasting Service Television. I've got two academicians with me here, and they've done justice to questions being thrown at them. I really must appreciate you, Dr. David Akam.
Thank you.
Department of Accountancy, Dennis Osadebe University. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And of course, Dr. Sanubo, the Department of Law, University of Delta, Owalero Campus. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, the faculty, the faculty returns again to your station tomorrow. Stay blessed. Good afternoon.